Hi, and welcome to another King's Christian Collegiate CommTech tutorial. Today we're going to do something that I call the inverted stripe image. And it's very simple and won't take very much time at all. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do, of course, is open Photoshop. So we'll just open Photoshop, and then we have to access our image. You can go to File, Open, and find your image, but mine happens to be on my desktop. So I am just going to open it here. So on my Mac, I'm holding down Control and right-clicking, and then I go to Open With, and then Photoshop. And click that, and there's our image. You can see that right now this is a large image because this is only at 16.67%. So that's a pretty small, shrunken down version of this image. Which is what you want. You want a very high resolution image because if you choose to print this out and blow it up, you want to have as much detail as you possibly can. You don't want to lose any resolution. For the purposes of this tutorial, because we're going to be doing a couple of different things, I am going to make this image just a little bit smaller, just so I can see it. So hold down Command and then press the minus key on your keyboard. And that brings it down. As you can see, now it's down to 12.5%. I'm going to drag this open so I can see my whole canvas right here, and then we will work with this. The other thing that you're going to want to do is unlock your image. So over here you've got a lock. You can double click it, and then it says layer 0. Let's rename it while we're at it. So we'll just call this color and click OK. So now we've renamed it and we have unlocked it. The next thing we're going to do is we need to be able to view our rulers because we will be doing some measurements on this one. So up here in View, if you don't see your ruler, you should see a ruler at the top of your image up here somewhere. But if you don't see that, just go to View and about a little more than halfway down, click Rulers. Or, as you can see here, you can click Command R. So click on that, and now we've got our rulers, okay? And you can see that this edge, I'm going to make this an arrow. You can see that this edge right here lines up with the 0, and this one lines up with just past that 160 mark. We do want this to be fairly precise, so we're going to actually crop our image slightly just to get rid of this little sliver so that it starts at 0 and ends on the 160 line. So let's go to our crop tool over here on the left. If you don't see that crop tool, hold down Control and left click and your options will show up, and just click Crop Tool. Okay? Then you simply just drag it over. You'll see these little marching ants and slide it until you line up with that 160 line. And you'll see it because up here you can see there's a little line that shows us where we are. And so that little line at 160 will kind of disappear and you'll know you're right on that line. Okay, so just line it up, let go of your mouse, and click Return or Enter. And now we've just shaved that off. So now this edge, as you can see, this edge right here lines up perfectly with the 160. The next thing we're going to do is change the size of our canvas. So our canvas is everything that we can see in the actual image. This is just like our desktop, our background. So we're going to go up to Image. We are going to go to Canvas Size and left click. And you'll see Width and Height. We will keep our width the same and we'll change the height just as we desire. Your number might be a little bit different than mine depending on your image. I'm going to change this, instead of 108.37, I'm simply going to change it to 128.37, and it is in centimeters. If you prefer inches or pixels or whatever you want, you can make those changes, but centimeters is as easy as anything. And click OK. Now you see that we have opened up some space at the top and at the bottom because we made it that much larger. Now these little gray checkerboard things tell us that it's transparent in the background, so you won't see anything there unless you fill that with something, which we will a little bit later on. Okay, so now we have our color layer. We want to duplicate that layer. So to do that, hold down Command and J. And now you see we have a new layer It says color copy. We're going to invert this, so let's double click on color copy and change that name to invert. And hit enter. And now it's called invert. Now we want to invert it. So let's hold down Command again and press the I key. And as you can see, now it's inverted. It's like a photo negative. Now we're going to create our strips. So what we want to do is go over to the rectangular marquee tool. Now once again, if you don't have the rectangular marquee tool, hold down Control and click on it, and your little sub menu will pop up, and you can just click rectangular marquee tool. That's fine. Now you can start at 0 and drag it across. You can start it at 10 and drag it across, but either way, we're going to cut equal strips off of this top image. So I'm going to start at 10. Okay, so again, this is your marquee tool, rectangular marquee tool. You can see up here that that little tiny dotted line shows us where our line is going to be, and you want to align it directly on top of that line at the 10. And when it turns sort of halfway invisible, that's how you know it's lined up perfectly. Now just left click, hold it down, and drag down and across, and again at the 20 that little line will also disappear. Let go, and now you've got this sort of flashing long rectangle. If you click delete, it disappears. Now we're going to repeat this every second increment. So starting at the 30, we're going to do that again. Line it up so that the little line disappears at the 40, and click delete, and we've lost it again. Keep doing this for every second increment. And now we're done. Now you still have these little flashing lines on the rectangle on the end here, so you can hold down Command and the letter D, and that will disappear. So now we've cut out our strips. Now as you can see, every centimeter is a strip of negative, a strip of positive. Negative, inverted, color, inverted, color, inverted, color. And they are all equal. They don't look it, actually. Like this one actually looks like it's a bit wider than that one, but we know that they are in fact exactly the same size because we measured them using our ruler. Now we're going to do something else. We're going to misalign these a little bit. So we have our top layer active. We know that because it's blue. And then we're going to go to the Move tool. So right up here, this little arrow is the Move tool. So left click on the Move tool. Okay, we know we're active here. Now just arrow up on your keyboard. The little arrows just go up. And as many as you want. I don't know, 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't seem like enough to me, so I'm going to maybe go 10 or 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I went 17, what the heck. Now I'm going to do it again with the color. So click on the color layer. Now that is blue, so that's active. And you can drop that down a little bit. We're not going to go as much on this one. So arrow down, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's about right. Okay, so now we've kind of misaligned these things a little bit. Now, the next thing we're going to do is choose our eraser tool. Our eraser tool is over here, and it looks like just like one of those erasers that you used to use when you were like in elementary math class or something. So click on your eraser tool, and your eraser tool options are up here. In the mode section, the little mode options, you've got brush, pencil, and block. If you don't already have it, we want block. So just click on the block, and that means our eraser is going to be square as opposed to round, which is what we want because we don't want little round notches. As we erase, we want a perfectly straight line. So let's line up right about here with the bottom of the inverted image, okay? And then hold down your left key. You can see it erased a little section. Now hold down the Shift key and then drag it straight across, and no matter what you do, as long as you don't let go of that Shift key, you will have a perfectly straight line. Okay, you can let go, and then you can erase this bottom little section. You don't need that to be straight as long as you don't go up into your image. Okay, now again we're going to put some little fine tuning. We're going to adjust these things so that it's kind of equally displaced at top and bottom. So let's take our color layer and let's just nudge it back up a little bit. So color and then arrow up. Oh, and make sure that your move tool is selected, otherwise it won't work. And then just arrow up. Maybe we'll bring the inverted one down a little bit till it's about even. Right about there, I think. Looks good. Okay. Now, we are almost finished. Last thing we're going to do is we want to crop out all of this extra space. So we'll go to our crop tool again, which is right here. And then we're just going to line it up with the top of that inverted strip. Drag it across, all the way across. And then we drag it down to the bottom of the other strip. Okay, let go and click return. Now we have about the same amount of space right here and right here. If it's not quite right, you can simply go back. You can Command Z will take you back one step. If you hold down Alt or Option and Command Z, it'll take you back several steps. And then you can make any adjustments you might want to make. Now this is still going to be transparent in the background here, and you might want to fill that with some color. So the last thing we'll do is we'll go down to a new layer, which is right down here beside your trash can, and click that. Layer 1 it says. We'll just rename this background or background color, maybe. Hit enter. But what we want to do is drag that to the bottom so it's the very back image. Otherwise, if we put it at the top and fill it in, the whole thing will turn whatever color. So you can decide what color you want that to be. You can use your paint bucket tool and maybe pick up a color from your image. So if you want to pick up this yellow, for example, hold down Option and the little eyedropper will appear, and just left click, and then you'll see that color has changed down there. If you want to pick up this blue instead, you would just do the same thing, Option, click, and then you see it turns into the blue. Then simply bring your paint bucket up somewhere in this little checkered area and left click, and it fills that in with that color. Or the other thing you could do if you wanted to, instead of making them all the same, maybe you want to make each one a different color. That's really easy to do. Simply grab your brush tool, grab a color, right? Option, grab the color, make it bigger if you need to, or smaller using your bracket tool on your keyboard, not in the numbers, but on where the letters are. And you simply tap it until it's bigger, and then you can color that one in. And maybe you want the next one to be yellow. So you simply grab the yellow and color that one. And maybe you want the next one to be this green over here. So you grab the green and that one. That's a terrible green. So maybe you want a different green. Let's say you want a different green. Double click here, go to your slider. Maybe you want a nice sort of fluorescent green. Okay, and then you can just do that. And then if you want this color again, you just go and grab it again. And there you have it. Finished. It's a bit chaotic, it's kind of strange looking, but it's also kind of interesting. When you're choosing your color image, you want something with a wide variety of colors, so that when you invert it, you've got all kinds of crazy weird shades and colors and different things going on. So that's just something to keep aware of as well. So now you've got it, it's all set up, you've got it exactly the way you want it, you're very happy with your final desired image. You simply go to File, go down to Save As, and we can call it, we'll call it VDub inverted strips You can save it as a PSD, that's your Photoshop format, or you can just go and save it as a JPEG, which is what I would do. Click Save. You'll have an option to save it as a small file, as a larger file. I typically save it as a larger file, and click, assuming I'm going to print it out, and click OK. And now it just popped up on your desktop, and there it is. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.